translations. The objectives for this module, I'm going to review what some of the requirements for becoming a core interpreter in California. What is a certified versus a registered core interpreter? What is the language access plan in all the 58 counties, the courthouses, and also go over some of the glossaries and where they're located for your review, some deadlines, and talked a little bit about your final. So what is a core interpreter? Based on the definition from the Judicial Council, a court interpreter interprets in civil or criminal court proceedings, arraignments, for example, motions, pretrial conferences, preliminary hearings, deposition trials, etc. And you will have an opportunity when you take your legal terminology interpreting class, if you have not done so, to practice some of those side translations and some of those depositions to practice your legal terminology. For witnesses or defendants who speak or understand little or no English. So this is your limited English proficient clients. Court interpreters must accurately interpret for individuals with a high level of education and an extensive vocabulary, as well as for persons with limited language skills, without changing the language register of the speaker. So like we discussed in class what it means, and is just not related to court interpreting, but for any situation. For example, the person you're translating says a word in colloquial, you need to do the closest translation to what that colloquial word means so that you can stay close to the register in the target language. The same if they were to use some slang language, then you would interpret that as such. And also the third one is interpreters also sometimes are responsible for translating written documents. So in the courthouse, that probably there's some written documents or maybe some site translation of legal documents that need to be rendered to the client and back and forth to the courthouse. The pay in California, you're going this I took a screenshot. This is a I recommend that you see this video. It's embedded in the PowerPoint. It's a YouTube video from the Judicial Council, and basically they talk about what the starting salaries are. So it could be anywhere from 68 to 75,000, and also they go over some of the links that they recommend for you to visit. For example, the self-assessment test that I've already did a video lecture for you. It's also in module 13 on the different areas that you need to test yourself and assess yourself of what level you're in and where you need improvement. So please, on your own time, watch that video. That is a video from the Judicial Council. Again, the Judicial Council of California is the entity that oversees the court interpreting program. Now, the only difference between a certified and a registered core interpreter has to do with the language. In this case, Spanish is one of the languages that is in demand, so that you would be considered a certified court interpreter. Now, the many other languages that are not so much in demand, those are considered to be registered court interpreter, registered language. Okay, so just basically it just has to do with the language in this case. Because you will be testing as a Spanish English court interpreter, you will be a certified court interpreter once you pass the state examination. Now, the language access plan changed everything, completely everything, the way the courts interact with limited English proficient clients. In the past, defendants or plaintiffs had to hire third-party translators, or their attorney would provide it for them at cost. They had very little court interpreters in California, so that just changed in recent history. In 2015, the Judicial Council adopted the language access plan. So it's very important I have that plan, the whole PDF in your modules. So if you want to go into more detail as to what does it include. So basically, in a nutshell, it's overseeing all the 58 counties, courthouses in California. And it's stated, and also I gave you the link for you to be able to see more about it. And that information, again, is also covered in the beginning foundations course for BAO 51. So sorry if you have to hear it again. It's just a refresher for those of you that I've already took the BA 51. So basically what it says is that they set a couple of stages. The first one was to be met by 2017, in which they were going to provide court interpreters for the civil proceedings. So they were going to start by different stages. So their first phase was phase 1 and 2, and that would be met by 2017. And then they would also, beginning in no later than 2020, which is right around the corner, the courts made an agreement and a commitment to provide court interpreters for all court order proceedings. And what happened is that that was not met because there's a great demand for court interpreters in California still. And the reason is, my next slide will show you why. The reason being that, I'm sorry, there's one more slide, but there's a misconception out there that just by someone speaking the language, they can become a court interpreter, and that's not the case. Court interpreters need training, as you can tell from if you're already taking the legal terminology class, you need to develop a certain set of skills. That's why there's another video lecture on how to do the self-assessment, and the Judicial Council also recommends that you do a self-assessment so you could gauge where it is where you are in terms of your speaking skills, your sight interpreting skills, consecutive, simultaneous, and also your written translations. So there was a misconception again that someone, just by the fact that they're very fluent in Spanish, can pass the test, and that is not the case because the passing rate is very low. So again, the language access plan pretty much just said that the courts were making a commitment to provide court interpreters in all California county courthouses. And here again is another summary of what the different stages are for the completion of the plan. So again, what I was just commenting and telling you about in terms of why they did not meet that has to do a lot with the passing rate. So the passing rate, a third-party provider called Promerica administers the exam. Okay, so here in this link that you see in this PowerPoint, there's a press release from the Judicial Council when they started to try to do recruiting in different fairs, different events throughout California. So also at your own leisure time, please refer to that news clip. So the passing rate again is only 8 to 15%. It's very low. And who's passing the oral exam? So they did some statistics and they said that 65% have been interpreting already as on their work. So that's a primary function. And this pretty much has to do with people that are already working in that legal field and have a sense for that legal terminology, because you do need to have knowledge of the legal terminology in both in English and Spanish. Okay, 78% of the recent people that passed had a bachelor's degree, master's, doctoral, or other advanced degree. So they had knowledge of the terminology. And 91% of the people that passed completed a coursework or certificate. So watch this because this is very, very high. So of the short number, they divided it, and of the short number of people that passed the exam, 91% of those that were passing had received some type of training, bachelor's degree or graduate degree in interpretation. So this program is one of the programs that it provides you with a certificate and trains you for that test. Okay. There, again, Promerica is a third-party provider that they contract with to do the testing. So there's the PDF. They have some sample questions and more information about their exams. These are the fees for the 2018-2019 year. Just make sure you review what the new fees are, the new and updated fees. In this video, I gave you actually the count, the time, the exact minute time where you can find more information regarding the video remote interpreting. So what happened is a plan B, the Judicial Council saw that they were not meeting this. So what were they going to do? So one of the pilot programs that they actually implemented it in Ventura, Merced, and Sacramento County courthouses was the video remote interpreting. And what that did is they placed the equipment in those three counties, Merced, Ventura, and Sacramento. And they placed equipment so that Spanish court interpreters from other remote areas would be able to do the interpreted via a webcam and via speakers and phone. And you're going to see that they're very excited with the results. They invested a great amount of money in technology. and now they're talking about maybe rolling it over to other counties just because there is a huge demand. So that's still in the works, but I would like for you, if you have time, especially if you're going to go in court interpreting, to also take a look at this video, because maybe that is where we're heading with technology. So you got to be prepared. Here is a video that I also recommend on the importance of note taking. Remember that in module 1 and 2, I did pose your KSA, your knowledge, skills, and abilities that you need to be a court interpreter, regardless if it's for court or whatever field you're going. And note taking is one of those, especially you're going to be doing consecutive and simultaneous.